30-minute beginner level arm support and core yoga sequence. My name is Kirill, and over the next 30 minutes, I will guide you through this practice. We are going to need a couple of blocks. This is a beginner level class, so using blocks is highly advisable. And as usual, a bolster or a cushion is advisable for the beginning and the end of the class, specifically this one, so that we can feel very nice and comfortable in a cross-legged sitting position, which is where we are going to start today. So find yourself or situate yourself in a cross-legged sitting position. Roll back your shoulders. Grow tall in your spine. Ground through your sit bones. Lift up your chin. Close your eyes. And let's take a moment or two to really bring our attention from the outside world onto this mat. Find the breath in your body. Doesn't matter where it is, just find it. Where do you feel your breath right now? Maybe it's in your upper chest, maybe it's in your throat, maybe it's in your nose, maybe it's in your belly, maybe it's in your back, maybe you don't feel it at all. Listen to your body, connect with the movement of your belly and the expansion of your chest as you breathe in and out. Start lengthening your exhalations, making them a little bit deeper, getting that breath deeper, deeper, and a little bit more down into your belly. See if you can start using the muscles of your abdominal core to pump or push the air out as you are exhaling. Keeping the breath going along. On the next exhalation, open your eyes and let's come up to our simple twist. So as you're sitting in a cross-legged position, turning to the right, the hand goes to the opposite knee, slight rotation to the right, keeping the spine nice and tall. Just a very simple, easy twist in cross-legged pose or Sukhasana. Coming back to the other side. Try to keep the length of your spine. Try to avoid from collapsing forward, rounding your shoulders. This is where the pillow comes in handy. It keeps your spine nice and tall by elevating your pelvis off the floor. Breathing in, breathing out. Next, let's come up onto our hands and knees. We're going to be spending a fair amount of time in this practice on our wrists. So let's give them much needed warm up. So find your tabletop pose. So knees under our hips, arms under our shoulders. And let's start leaning forward, feeling the stretch in our forearms. We're going to lean forward and backward. A little bit more forward. Be very careful here if you have any injuries in your wrist. If you have weak or impinged shoulders, this is another reason why you should tread with caution here. Or maybe even reconsider doing the arm support and core exercises. Now flip the hands so that they're facing 9 and 3 o'clock, and we're going to go sideways, left and right. Move at your own pace here. The most important thing is to start feeling that stretch in your wrists. One more time to the left and one more time to the right. Now flip the palms so that the hands are facing towards your knees. This is be very careful here. You're not going to move too much here. Slightly shifting back, feeling the stretch in those forearms, and then moving forward. Let's do a few of these. And on the next exhalation, release everything. Now flip the palms so that the palms are facing upwards and the fingers are pointing towards your knees. Shift your knees a little bit closer to your hands. Same idea. Slightly shifting back to feel the stretch in our wrists. Super slow motion here. Releasing the tension by shifting forward. Excellent. Let's do this one more time. Come up on your knees. Shake out your wrists. Interlock the fingers. Let's do some figure eights. Clockwise and then counterclockwise. Shake it off. And we're good to go. Let's come up into our downward dog. So find your downward dog. Make sure that you're pressing through the entire surface of your palm. Fingers are spread out. You're grounding through the entire area of your hand. Your heels may be off the floor. No biggie here. Slightly bend your knees. Now this is an arm support class, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. Downward dog is one of these poses that combines arm support, inversion, core, a little bit of hip openers as well. So we're going to hold this for 30 more seconds. If at any point you feel that you need to come out of the pose, simply drop down on your knees. Keep holding it. Excellent. On the next exhalation, drop down your knees. Come up on standing on knees. Shake off your wrists. If you have blocks, let's grab them and let's place them in front of our mat. Right here. One for each arm. We are going to come up into downward dog. Now in downward dog, I want you to place the hands in front of your blocks, like this, so that the blocks act as a support for your forearms. From downward dog, drop your forearms on these blocks and lean forward with your shoulders. A little bit of a deeper stretch. Feel your core getting engaged, so that it's able to support that nice V shape between your hips, your legs, and your torso. On the next exhalation, drop down your knees, set the blocks aside, come up into downward dog. We're going to warm up the rest of our body. Walk your feet towards the hands and very slowly roll up to standing. Roll back your shoulders. We're going to do 3 rounds of sun salutations with a little bit more focus on arm support. Let's inhale, raise the hands to the sky. Exhale, hinging at the hips, folding forward. Inhale into flat back. Press your palms into your shins. Lengthen that spine. Exhale, fold forward. step back into plank. Now this is a beginner level sequence, so we can drop our knees down to the floor, lower all the way down to the floor. Inhale into baby cobra, exhale, transition to downward dog. Bend your knees, walk your feet towards the hands. Inhale into flat back. Feel the stretch in the backs of your legs. Exhale, folding forward. Hanging around for one breath. Inhale, reach into the sky, connect the palms, bring them to your chest. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, fold. Inhale into flat back. Exhale, fold forward, step back into plank. Hovering in plank for 3 breaths. Body is nice and straight. On the next exhalation, you can drop down your knees and shift all the way down to the floor. Inhale into cobra. Exhale, transitioning through tabletop into downward dog. Bend your knees, walk your feet towards your hands. Inhale into flat back. Really feel the stretch in your calves. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, lengthen, connect the hands, bring them to your heart center. Round number 3. Inhale, lengthening, exhaling, folding forward. Inhale into flat back. Really connect your palms with the shins here. Exhale, folding forward, stepping back into plank, holding this for 5 breaths. Ensure that your body is nice and straight by flexing your core, pressing through the palms. On the next exhalation, drop the knees, lower all the way down to the floor. Inhale into flat back. Transition into downward dog. Bend your knees. Walk your feet towards the hands. Inhale into flat back again. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, lengthen, reach to the sky. Hands go back to your chest. We're going to continue moving forward. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, folding forward. From this position, we are going to step back with our right leg directly into warrior 2. Grab a block here and place it on the inside of your bent leg. Find your warrior 2. We're gonna stay here for 5 breaths, for not too long. Sinking a little bit deeper into that leg. Engage the core to keep your body nice and stable at a 90-degree angle. Listen carefully. On the next exhalation, you can lean forward, drop that elbow onto the knee. Inhale and reach over your head with your arm. Feeling a nice stretch in your obliques. If you're comfortable here, you can drop down that hand onto the block. Feel free to adjust the height, and you can take a bit of a variation here. So a couple of options available to you. On the next exhalation, drop the hands to the floor in front of you. Pivot on that back foot, stepping back into plank, holding it for 5 breaths. On the next exhalation, you can drop your knees if you want, if you have to, lowering all the way down. Inhale, baby cobra here, transitioning through tabletop, downward dog. Let's take care of the other side. So we're gonna step the right leg in between the hands, and we're going to open up into warrior 2 on the other side. Once again, have your block on the inside of that bent knee. Find your straight and tall warrior 2. Holding this for 3 more breaths. Next exhalation, drop that elbow to the knee. Extend the arm over your head. Should feel a very nice stretch in your sides, in your obliques. Feel free to reach down onto the block. On the next exhalation, dropping the hands in front of you, get rid of those blocks, stepping back and shifting all the way down into downward dog. So we're going to hold the downward dog here for 30 seconds. Make sure you bend your knees to give yourself a little bit more flexibility in your hips. On the next exhalation, come up on your toes and let's drop the heels to the left. Listen carefully. We're going to open up into a side plank, but what I want you to do here is step the right leg in front of you for that extra support. Reach to the sky, holding this for 5 breaths. Excellent. Next exhalation, shifting back into downward dog. And we're going to do the other side. So lift up on your heels, drop the heels to the left, open up into side plank, step the left leg in front of you for that additional support. Watch for that hip. Hike it up as high as you can. 5 breaths. Next exhalation, releasing back to the floor, stepping back into plank. And then from plank, we are in downward dog. Let's take a bit of a break here. Drop your knees to the floor. Release all the way down into child's pose. 5 breaths here, just taking care, managing our energy. Now we're going to do the same thing on both sides with a little bit of a more slightly difficult variation. So let's come up into downward dog. Lift up your heels, drop the heels to the left, come up into side plank. Now this time around, no leg support. So one foot is stuck on the other, or you can have the right leg slightly in front, focusing on hiking up that hip to the sky. 5 breaths. Your arm should be directly under your shoulder, so not extended at an angle, but right under your shoulder. We are doing quite well. Release all the way down to the floor, shifting back into downward dog. We are going to do the other side. Come up on your toes, drop the heels to the right, foot on foot, or one foot is slightly in front of the other. Fix your hand so that it's directly under your shoulder, opening up into a side plank, engaging our side obliques. Breathing through this. If you find yourself holding breath, don't. Try to breathe through these poses. Next exhalation, releasing all the way down to the floor, transitioning into downward dog. Excellent. Bend your knees, walk your feet towards the hands, cross them at the ankles, and then drop down to sitting on the floor. Let's get into our core a little bit more. So, hands behind your back, fingers pointing to the front of the mat, knees are bent. You can connect the knees together, it's a little bit easier. Let's do some good old-fashioned boats or Navasanas. Shifting your weight back, hover your feet off the ground. 5 breaths. Exhale, drop them back to the floor. Next one is going to be a little bit more difficult. We're going to increase the complexity of these exercises as we are moving along. Leaning back, hover the feet off the floor. Try to extend the knees into so that the feet are parallel to the floor. Lean back as much as you need to. Holding this. 5 breaths. Next exhalation, release the feet towards the floor. Hug the knees into chest. Grow tall in your spine. Release your abdominals. Exhale. Let's get ready for the next one. So supporting yourself with the hands. We are going to hover the feet off the floor, make them parallel, and if possible, even straighten out those knees if that's accessible to you. Holding it for 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Releasing to the floor. Hug those knees into your chest. Grow tall. One last boat. Find your support. Lean back. Everything comes up off the floor. Here, hover your hands off the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. Everything goes down. Keep sitting on the floor. Let's do one last hugging the knees into chest. Feel the stretch in your abdominals as you're hugging your knees. Feel it. Nice, releasing stretch. Exhale. Listen carefully. Hands behind our hips. Walk your feet slightly forward. We're going to come up into reverse table 5 times. Inhale, hips go up into a table. Exhale, hips go down. Inhale, coming up for 2. Exhale, back to the mat. Inhale, coming up for 3. Exhale, back to the mat. Inhale, coming up for 4. Try to get those hips as high as you can. Exhale, back to the mat. Inhale for 5. Exhale, back to the mat. Now we're going to come up and we're going to hold it for 5 breaths. Inhale and hold it. Squeeze your glutes. Squeeze in the glutes. Holding this. 3 more. One more. And then releasing back down to the ground. Let's hug those knees into chest one more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release. Extend your legs in front of you. Lengthen in your spine. This is where you can get a block, and if you have a bit of a difficulty or really tight hamstrings, place it under your knees. Let's lengthen. Reach to the sky. Exhale, we're going to fold forward, keeping a straight back as much as possible, placing the hands near our knees, focusing on just folding forward, releasing the lower back. I'm going to hold this for about 30 seconds. So the key principle for working on our arm support and core is that we are reversing the typical way of our lower body being the weight-bearing part of our body, our lower extremities, bearing the entire weight of our body, and our upper body available and mobile for us to interact with the world. Once we get into arm balances and arm holds, where flipness upside down, where the weight bearing part becomes our upper body, this exchange or shifting of perspective generates a more even sense of balance in our body. It redistributes the energy in our body, creating a more balanced lifestyle, a more balance in your body, which ultimately reflects in a more balanced mind. Just holding this for 5 more breaths. Excellent. On the next exhalation, let's slowly release all the way up to sitting. Very carefully, let's hug that right knee into our chest. Growth also, that requires you to lift up that right sit bone off the floor. Don't lose the front leg. Reach behind your back with your right hand. Grow tall with the left hand, and then hug that knee into your chest. Keep twisting with every exhalation. Inhale, you grow taller. Exhale, twist a little bit deeper. Next exhalation, release everything. Let's switch sides. Left leg comes in. Engage your straight leg. Reach to the sky, reach behind you at the same time, hugging the other knee into our chest. Next exhalation, slowly releasing back to sitting. Let's press those hands next to our hips. Really press them into the mat. Grow tall in your spine. Flex the toes so that they're pointing towards you. You should feel a nice core engagement. You can even let go of your hands and hover them off the mat. Your chest, your abdominals should be nice and engaged. Maybe they're even shaking. Holding it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let everything go and stretch out on the mat. And let's take a well-deserved Shavasana. So relax your body. Arms are wide. Legs are splayed to the sides. Going to take a minute or so to relax, collect ourselves. Find your breath here. And do a quick scan through your body from your toes towards your head. Notice any sensations, any heaviness or lightness, any pleasant or unpleasant feelings. Don't attempt to classify or judge them in any sort of way. Just acknowledge them and Take a note of them. Also notice any change in your emotional state, if any, from the beginning of this practice till now. Has anything shifted? Has anything changed? Two more breaths and we're out of this. Let's take a deep inhale through the nose and a cleansing, relieving exhalation through the mouth. Slowly supporting yourself, shift up into sitting. Bring your hands to your chest, bow your head. I hope you enjoyed this practice. There is more where it came from. My name is Kirill. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching. Namaste.